He Who Walks with Dragons, my very belated recount of its production. This being my first publication, my goals were simple. Chiefly, write a solid story with a tight narrative, and digestible chapters would naturally flow from one into the next. I have a tendency to ramble when telling stories, getting bogged down in trivial details that may or may not work themselves back into the overall narrative. To combat this, a limit on the number of chapters was set at 8, and a word count of 2,500 words per chapter was instituted. With these parameters in place, the next goal was to establish my writing style to the audience and further develop it, all the while introducing the reader to the wide world of Ash in a relatively simple, easily understood tale. Observations. The restrictions to chapter and word count, while not rigidly enforced, proved quite useful in helping me develop and make improvements to my writing style. They will be tweaked based off of the observations I made while working under them, and kept in place for the foreseeable future, as they force me to be more inventive when solving certain challenges in the creative process, and are the biggest reason the narrative developed and maintained its brisk flow. Slop in my writing was greatly limited, as were unnecessary tangents. This is a solid start to the world of Ash. Limited in scope by design, there are plenty of questions that must be answered, but a wealth of opportunity yet to be explored. The characters in this story are not its strong suit. The protagonist provides an excellent vantage from which the audience can peer into the new world, but due to his limitations and the nature of this tale, his agency is greatly limited, and thus the decisions he makes lack impact that must be present in other stories moving forward. Side characters are limited by the protagonist and the nature of the tale, but I am happy with their characterization. They are a solid start for my first outing. My word choices are odd for the present time period, as are how I integrate English vernacular into a world that has its own clearly defined tongue. I have not settled on many details in this new world, and language is a tricky detail that must be better addressed in upcoming stories. The ending seems to be the most controversial element of this tale. Indeed, the ending is why I added the 9th chapter. My beta readers expressed concerns that I left too much to the imagination. I do not share these concerns, as I am aware of the twists and turns these stories will take. This story is part of a wider narrative, and while all my tales are meant to be self-contained, this one might fall short of that standard in your estimation. Conclusion. The story turned out nicely, and while it must be revisited at a later date for a more accurate assessment, I am proud of this achievement, and welcome all who are interested in this new world to explore He Who Walks with Dragons. There were no shortage of flaws, particularly in the editing process. These shortcomings must be addressed, though most of these mistakes were more likely to be embarrassing than detrimental to the narrative. My process has improved, but I must work faster. I must continue to improve my craft even as I attempt to up my pace. In spite of my limitations as a writer, the character issues and the editing concerns, I'm thrilled to add this tale to my favorite genre. I welcome your thoughts, concerns, and criticisms as I continue to explore the world that has fascinated me for so long. If you would like to support our work, you can purchase He Who Walks with Dragons on Amazon, or listen to it on this YouTube channel. If you've already explored this tale, a treacherous sign is also available on Amazon, and will be on this channel as well. Until next time, from Worlds Like Our Own, take care.